Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Brendan Lee. I have a late night DJ voice that I'm going to stop using pretty soon. I'm here with John.
Howdy.
We've got a show for you today.
Yep. Yesterday, the police came and knocking at my door.
Yeah.
They arrested my dog.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, that's fucking crazy.
Unpaid barking tickets. Yeah. Lots of them. It's really stupid. It's really dumb.
It is. It's great.
Do you think that serves any purpose? Like if
What?
some guys that have done some consciousness work can tell stupid jokes, does that help people know that you can get more conscious and still be an idiot or just have fun or yeah. That's what it does.
Sure. And
Yeah.
also it serves a function of humor.
The function of humor. That sounds very
Doesn't that sound funny?
so funny.
So when shit's funny, like that's a good thing. Like and then I was thinking about if I'm laughing at stuff that's fucked up. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But when stuff's actually funny, there's something about humor. Anyway, comedy. People go to listen to comedy. Oh man, blah 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 blah. Yes.
Growing up.
Yeah. Back on track. I wanted to talk about what I would call, I'm just making a label for this. I'm going to work on not qualifying what I say when I say it. Do I qualify shit all the time?
Justifications,
Frequently,
excuses.
Right?
Yeah.
Usually I'm like,
you need to be a little more sociopathic. I think it would be good for your marketing. Just think Donald Trump, like channel a little bit of that. Just like I am the greatest.
We have the best show for you today.
There's never been another one like it.
Never been.
No one. People can't stop talking about it.
People can't stop talking about it.
We have so many views.
So many. Speaking of taking action, yeah, I need to get this up on other systems, which I will do before our next call.
Hey, alrighty.
So I hope our next call isn't tomorrow. It's going to be in a while. But yeah, so I did want to talk about this phenomenon where let's just say I'm getting some feedback, right? And somebody's telling me, like Peter's talking to me, he's like, you need to take action. And I'm offended by this. Like, why? What? Oh, I need to take action? Like, I'm so important, right? No, you need to take action. Like, take action. Take action. Nothing happens, like he reminds me over and over and over again, which I think ultimately is good. You need to take action. So I get offended by this, but I'm like, what the fuck? So my first clue is that I'm annoyed by this feedback, right? For me, usually the first, like if I get annoyed, I'm like, all right, I'm probably missing something about this because otherwise I wouldn't be having this negative reaction, ergo something to push away so that I stay safe or so that I stay the same. Defending myself, you see, what otherwise why be angry? Like something's getting struck in me. Okay, what's that about? So then I keep looking, and then like this, lo and behold, because I do take action. I know how to work. I know how to work hard. I can do that. But it's not about that kind of action in a sense. And then it's sort of like when I'm on my own, in my own place, doing working for myself. And so I started to look. I said, wait a minute, like taking action. action. And then I started to notice, oh, I don't. I'm dicking around here, getting distracted by that, doing this other thing. Like, if I get rigorous about when am I actually taking action on the thing that needs to be done,
Mm.
how much time am I actually spending on that? Because you see, like, I get the feedback, and then I've got the upset, and then I've got the pushback in my mind. I'm running it hard, right? Like, oh, I don't have any time. You don't know what I'm doing. You don't know how many tasks you're asking me to do for you. So I'm busy all the time doing the stuff. Blah, blah, blah. You see? But then if I really shut the fuck up and like did some science and go, all right, Brendan, when are you doing the thing? Out of a 1 hour period, it's like, okay, maybe 5 minutes. Oh, oh.
Mm.
And then starting to notice, now this is what I wanted to bring up on the show here. Starting to notice I'm not taking action. But the weird part, it's not whether I'm taking action or not, or whether that's a good thing or not, is that's not my point here, what I'm trying to share or reveal. It's like the noticing coming from a place of ignorance about something in my own experience and then starting to see something new, which had been there the whole time, which is more the reality of it. Oh yeah, wow. Look, I don't do X, Y, and Z. Look at how much time I actually waste. And noticing that for some fucking weird reason, I didn't see it.
Mm.
That's the weird part. That's the what? And it's like, oh yeah, yeah, like I didn't see it. And this outside force, the feedback comes in. I start to look, and then I start to see. And I'm like, whoa, like a new world starts to open up. And it's just, I wish I had a better way to communicate about it. But it's sort of like, I don't see it, then I do. Or, like in landmark stuff like that, you don't know. There's like what you know, there's what you don't know, and then there's what you don't know, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
When shit's in the you don't know, you can't see it. I can't see it. Because I don't even know I don't know this thing. And then, thank God, I've got people in my life that give me awesome feedback. And what I mean by awesome is not that it feels good, because sometimes it doesn't, but that it makes a difference. That it empowers me or that it frees me from something. These things are valuable. Doesn't mean it feels good to me to hear it, but it's this revealing of something that I find fascinating. I'm like, holy shit. Oh yeah, look, I'm doing that same shit. And then because I've taught apprentices, because I've taught people, I see them in their own struggles, and I can see it. I can see I'm looking at a world that they're not seeing, and I'm trying to get them from a world that they don't even know is there, to try to open it up for them so that then, yes, there you go, buddy. Now you see that new world that just happened? You're welcome. And then I'm doing it myself. I'm like, fuck! God damn it. And then Peter's like to me, right? He goes to me, he's like, yeah, I mean, you work with apprentices, right? Usually what happens when you try to give them feedback? What do? Don't change.
Mm.
Oh, son of a bitch. So then I have to confront my own mind, little confrontation, small scale in this area, in this area where I feel like I'm not as strong as I could be. Fucking A, bro. So yeah, it's that revealing part, the moving from something ignorant to then seeing it. And it's like a weird thing. It's like it's not in my experience, and then suddenly, or not suddenly, it starts to creep in. Holy shit. A world opens up. wait a minute, what? And I'd been in it the whole time, just ignorant with excuses and covering it up and pretending like it's not that way, not telling the truth to myself, not really owning up to in a weird way and not knowing I'm not owning up. And then I start to own up a little bit. I start to see this new world. Anyway, it's fascinating.
And it's wild to you how much like you can see the gulf between what you thought was going on and then what is actually going on.
Like that, yeah. Whereas before I wouldn't have seen it and or I was ignoring. Like ignorance is probably the best word.
Mm,
And but the what I find fascinating is the experience of ignorance versus hearing about ignorance.
yeah.
Seeing my experience start to change and go, wait a minute. And I guess it's my somehow I can pretend stuff and hide it from myself and to see
Yeah.
it start right like and we do all kinds of shit like this and some people live in a real fucked world where it's completely hidden, but just to see my mind move out of that to some degree, not promising here, okay, but to start to see like wait, like a fog kind of like what was I stuck in, I didn't even why didn't I know that, it's it's
Wait,
fascinating.
so so I imagine that all of these things are things that do not provide immediate gratification. None of them is like having a cup of coffee. They're all things like, working your ass off on something that's maybe tedious or dry and uninteresting in and of itself, but that leads hopefully to some gains further on down the road.
Oh, you mean the stuff that I would avoid doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I think that's the like if that is one aspect of the avoidance.
Hmm.
It's boring and when I looked into it, some other excuses I had were like I don't want it's basically like a kid. I don't want to have my time be dominated by something that's not what I want it to be.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I followed that train of thought out to the end, and that leaves me homeless. Basically, nobody tells me what to do, only I do. But
Yeah.
so I'm not going to work a job. I'm not going to do this. But then I'm like, but then if I want to eat, I got to go slave to other people anyway. So they're not telling me what to do, but I still have to do work. Like even homeless people work, they do the work of begging
Yeah, or stealing or
or
whatever.
stealing. Like they gotta, yeah, or like there's a fucking, I think there's a meme out there. It's like, if a crackhead can if a crackhead is fiending, like even a crackhead will go work their ass off to get the money to get their next fix.
Yeah.
If a crackhead can be beating you at hustling, what are you doing? Or something. Anyway, the meme goes something like that. Like it doesn't, yeah. And so I think I'm just a child in that area. It's like being a child. My time, I want my freedom. But then as I was dialoguing with Peter a little bit, it's like where do you think it's gonna oh no, it was if you're gonna run a business, you're a slave to that business. You gotta get
Mm.
over that. Like in order to actually have the business be successful, you're a slave to the business. And then what's wrong with that? What's wrong with being a slave to the business? You see, my internal excuses are something like again, it's like it's me, it's my time.
Mm. Hmm. Hmm.
And it's like, no, if you want the business to run, it's the business time, not your time. It's just one example of a possible excuse there. Yeah. Because you brought up there's boring tasks that hopefully give
Yeah.
fruit. There's that
Yeah.
aspect, and so I resist the the mundane of it. I'm
Yeah, the
alone doing a boring task, sitting in front of a computer when I'd rather be outside. I'd rather be building something where I can put my hands on, get my hands dirty a little bit. Like, but no, I'm going to sit in front of a computer and do blah, 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 blah,
yeah. So I don't know where this is going, but the other day I was thinking about something,
blah.
and uh, and I realized that I don't respect myself,
Yeah.
or no, it was actually what I really realized was that I do respect myself, and then when I don't do things that are respectful towards my time, I notice it, but I notice it usually in the background.
Hmm.
And I
What do you
don't
mean?
necessarily, so like for example, if I allow somebody to monopolize my time in a way that's not valuable to me, if I, dick around on Facebook or YouTube or something like that, I'm not actually respecting my time.
Hmm.
And there's a cost that I experience before it gets to anyone else. It doesn't have anything to do with my relationships. It doesn't have anything to do with God or any like cosmic sense of other. It's just me.
Hmm.
And so like when I hear you talking about doing stuff, it's like, what do you really want to do? Because
Yeah.
I think I replace things that I really want to do or really value with smaller, insignificant things that are more obtainable. Because the other thing, maybe it's too hard, maybe it's too risky, maybe I don't know if I can do it. It's sort of it's shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And so without knowing, without noticing, not without knowing, I do know, but without noticing, I settle for less, so to speak.
Hmm.
Scroll YouTube, play a chess game,
Yeah.
have another cup of coffee, when I should be, but that word should is tricky because it's not should. Fuck should. It's not a directive from God, and it's not a obligation to society. I mean, maybe it is an obligation in some sense, but
And maybe
ultimately,
it depends on what we could nitpick and get, and
yeah,
depends
yeah,
on
yeah,
what we
yeah.
put the
But
context
who
in. But
who
I,
who
yeah,
is it really for?
yeah,
Like, what do I really want?
yeah,
Maybe I don't actually want to run a business, but be fucking careful because maybe I do want to run the business. I just don't want to do the work.
yeah.
I want to have the goodies, but I don't want to do the work.
It's like that. Yeah,
And like, so, okay,
yeah.
what's that really about? And I think
Hmm.
that's getting into the nitty gritty of it. And I think there's something about, I want to use the word honor, like, but it's honor, like being honorable. It's not just towards other people. Like, I tend to think of being honorable as being towards other people, keeping my word,
Right.
but it's also being honorable towards myself.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I don't think I ever really realized that before. Like, honor is not just like a should. It's not an external imposition. It actually starts here,
Yeah.
and it ain't easy
Right.
necessarily.
Ah, more work. Fuck. Yeah. Yeah. I thought about how hard I work for other people sometimes, or say Peter, like when we're doing workshops and stuff, it's like I'm on. And I'll be on for as long as it takes. But then imagine if I worked as hard for myself as I did for somebody else.
Yeah,
Like, and then
yeah.
do I actually do that? You see, that's be like, well, and what are the consequences of being that way as opposed to working hard for myself?
What is that? Like, is
The
there a
avoidance,
way? Yeah, but I think, is there something? I mean, tell me what you think. Is like, it's really easy to look at ourselves as constructed survival mechanisms make sense, right? And as basically like uh walking circus shows of shenanigans,
It's a walking freak show.
kind of, right? It's easy to
God,
look at
this
ourselves
shit
that way.
show.
And it's also easy to do like the I'm entitled and I don't, I'm like all this sort of ego inflation and stuff in different ways. But is there a way to respect our capacities? I'm talking about in the very relative world,
Yeah.
you know, like you're a straightforward, honorable guy, very insightful, who's done a ton of work that literally no one else in the world has done to, like, nobody's done as many apprenticeships as you have. Nobody has devoted themselves to this
No.
work as much as you
Yeah.
consistently, year after year after year after year.
Yeah.
That's not a small thing, right?
Yeah.
And we live these lives and we conduct ourselves and we create something. And um, I've thought about ways I've held certain things together recently in my life for people, and my tendency was to give thanks to other people and to like give gratitude, and it's good, but sometimes I can leave myself out.
Mm.
Like I'm like, wait, no, actually, I should be considering myself
Hmm.
as part of this equation here.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's just to say, like, what if one of the reasons that we ignore some of these things that we think we need to be doing is because we're actually not quite putting ourselves in the driver's seat, which, yeah, is an avoidance
Right.
of responsibility, but it's also an avoidance of acknowledging our like value. Like, you know, there you
Yeah. Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Or maybe like not valuing myself enough to get off my ass to make the shit happen that I say I want to have happen or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
Or like,
don't you matter?
yeah. Or
You
honoring
know?
my word that I've given to myself
Yeah. Like,
about things.
what do you really want, you know?
Yeah. 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 So that, yeah, for sure. And then I think there's stuff where it's like we're definitely wired up as far as I can tell. We want to avoid challenging things.
Hmm.
Just I think just naturally. I'm not making an excuse. It just seems that way. Most people avoid the hard things.
I've
And
got
then yeah.
I've got a situation with my kid where it's getting to where uh he's getting resistant to coming over and spending some time with me.
No, here
Now,
we go.
only initially.
Yeah.
He changes his tune real quick, but it's because I asked him the other day while he was with his mom. I said, "Hey, what have you got going on today that's challenging?" And he thought about it for a while, and he's like, "Nothing." What about tomorrow? No, nothing. Yesterday? No, nothing's challenging.
Mm.
Well, what about your schoolwork? Well, yeah, my mom just makes me do a little bit over breakfast, and then I do some reading at night. I spend hours with this kid every day that he's here, working with him on reading and writing and math
Yeah.
and martial arts and trying to help him and history. Um, he works. He enjoys the feeling of accomplishment when he works, but he doesn't want to work hard.
Yeah.
And it's just so happens that this particular case, his mom is using that to do a little parental warfare. It sucks, but yeah, to your point, people don't mostly want to just naturally work hard. We rather have it easy, you know?
Mhm.
The beach is nice, and so is the tropical fruit that grows nearby.
Yeah.
And
No, beautiful people in their bathing suits and
yeah,
whatever. Yeah, there's that and And I think there's that you've heard about the marshmallow experiments with the kids. There's a I hear tell a link between kids are given a marshmallow and they got the option to eat it now or wait and get two marshmallows.
Hmm.
And the kids that know to wait and get two marshmallows, there's like a much higher success rate in terms of like probably career and accomplishing things because it's that consistency over time with no immediate gratification. That is also, for me, a skill I'm training myself to do.
Yeah.
And
Eh,
it's like that's, or like building a house. I'm building a house. There's not, and I've been working on it for a while. There's not an immediate end, but I have to keep going and going and going and going. And what am I doing when I'm in the middle of that process? I cannot see an end, and the beginning's gone. So I'm in the middle. I'm in like a limbo land of
mm,
I just have to keep going. When's it gonna end? I don't know.
mm.
How's it gonna look? But I don't know. Just keep fucking going. And then at some point, the last screw goes in. Huh. The last The last brush stroke of paint goes on. The last one. The last one.
Yeah.
And there's a yeah, so there's just something that's challenging for my mind at certain times about that. And I can see the value in getting over it.
Mm.
You see, and then like every so often, like something I'll see in myself. I'm like, my God, why did I why am I having to learn this now? Of course my parents tried to teach me stuff, right? But did I listen? Nah.
I wonder about that because I think that different education styles are probably better at instilling that in people, and then different people take to it more easily.
Differently and then depending on the parent, I mean, like case in
Ed,
point, the way that
yeah,
your
son's mother.
your son's mother, the
Yeah.
way she is, the way I've seen her to be with your son versus the way you are with your son. It's like,
Hold on a sec, buddy.
yeah.
I'm gonna ring. Might be the police after the dog.
Oh yeah, go check on the dog. So anyway, just the
Yeah.
different way people go about stuff, and then my original point with this point was just the revealing of the ignorance. And how fascinating is it that I can, like, when I start to reveal, then a new world opens up. And then it's like one of the stories that was told to me about this. It's like it's not just about taking action, but it's about a whole domain
Mm,
that you don't get if, like for me in this case, that you don't get if you can't stay in one place, have to jump from thing to thing to thing, get constantly distracted. There's just a domain of stuff that
yeah.
you do not get to have. So
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say in the one side, it's like I want to get my way, so I only do these things. But and I want and maybe I might say it's because I want to be free, but
Mm,
I'm not free to have this other thing. I can't because I'm doing this. It will never get me that result. But if I can stay doing the one thing, it means I do not get these other things, but I do get this thing. And like that's how it works. And so I'm like trying to come to terms with that's how it fucking works. Like people don't finish things sometimes because they want to they want to be free or not be limited. It's like, yeah, but you really
See,
don't
I
have
think
power over here.
I
So
want. I wonder if this because like I think correct me if I'm wrong, but you had pretty like um fairly permissive, laissez-faire parents.
yeah, they didn't
Or-
discipline my ass the way they should have in my
No,
mind.
no, no, no. So you went to Ralston for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I grew up
right.
twice.
You grew up twice. So like,
And I'm still a child.
but your family unit, is about that. And like my family, like, some about my family, they're all sorts of fucked up in different ways. Um,
Who
and
isn't?
I love them, I love them. And they're great too. But yeah, in some ways, I had that same kind of thing, like very permissive kind of
Yeah, like an
parenting.
easy childhood.
Yeah, and and I think other kids, they grow up with they can grow up with very tyrannical parents. Like it will
Yeah.
be fucking this way, and there is no discussion. And I think that what for people like us might struggle with, which is finding that inner discipline to pursue the things that we really want to do. Like we're really good with like ideas and open-mindedness and moving around to this and that, and like martial arts and dance and creativity, and yeah, it's all great. But put our nose to the grindstone. Maybe we've learned to do it with others in a structured environment, but that inner discipline harder to get. Whereas someone else, they might have learned that actually at a very early age,
Yeah.
but then they might really struggle to find like a sense of authenticity or something because they're doing it out of expectation or out of just pure obligation, and they can't think outside that box to save their life.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think this might be like a particular makeup that kind of occurs with people, and there may be other makeups that don't. People may grow up in other areas, like you were saying, growing up, and they may grow up in this area early,
Sure.
but in other areas they're really stunted. Like, they can't express themselves emotionally. They don't want to know what their real needs are. They don't know why their relationships are failing or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Yeah, because it does seem, I think we talked about this before, but it does seem that the growth happens in different areas for different people at different times. Like, who knows? It's just like if you work on it, you get better at it. If you don't, you don't.
Hmm.
And then some people seem to have proclivities in certain areas, just as if genetically, but just like somehow, like they're on this track. How do we? I don't know. How do they get there? I don't know.
Mm.
Like at a young age,
Yeah.
they're just like on a fucking track somehow. They like even I've heard that even kids when they come out have personalities. Is that true?
It sure as hell is.
Or
I mean,
or like if you have two, I don't know, you can tell right like very young, that one's different than this one. How do you know? They just are. You know,
yeah, yeah.
they're not as if completely blank. Maybe I don't know.
Well, no, I think that's really true. Like my sister, for example, she always had a steadiness about her. Like when she was 3 years old, she was playing with plastic figurines of dolphins and whales. She went to graduate school to study ocean biology and did all kinds of research on dolphins and whales.
Right?
And and she was drawing dolphins and whales when she was a little girl, and she gets paid for her ocean marine biology artwork today.
Yeah,
She had this like real, like she knew it, and she would go and explore this and that, but she always came back to that. That's very different than many other people.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting, interesting stuff. So yeah,
So,
onward with the learning. Then I guess
mhm.
the that's the thing. So, did you have some insights? Did we
I
talk about your
shared it,
insight?
dude. That was it. That was
That
it. It
was
was
it.
this. It was just respect myself,
Yeah.
and notice that when I'm not honoring myself or respecting my time, my life, with what I do and with what I don't do, I pay a cost for it immediately before any kind of morality or sense of obligation
Right.
comes
Right.
into
Yes.
anyone or anything. It's like
Yes.
free all of that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the world that I call the consequences. And some of them are short term, and then there's other long term consequences. And it's just what happens. If you do that, that happens. Or
mm,
like this, I follow these people on Instagram, Alex and Leila Hormozi. Have you heard of them?
mm-mm,
Married couple, power couple, but Alex, they both do business stuff. And
mm,
they're really, as far as I could tell, straight shooters about business. But one of the quotes by Leila one time was, you can't, you can control what you do, but you can't control the consequences of what you do.
right.
You can control your actions, but you cannot control the consequences of those actions. It's
Welcome to
that,
life.
yeah. Like no matter what, if you work out, you get strong. If you break your word, there's consequences. If you keep your word, there's consequences. If you honor yourself, something happens. That is, like you were saying, before the morality, before whatever, it's like when you honor yourself, you get something.
Mhm.
Something happens. There's a consequence. Yeah, it's great.
Cool.
So, oh, and that's been my motto in a certain sense that's helped me learn is I use consequences. I invite people to watch the consequences. So I don't tell them how to live, but I say, hey, look at what happens when you do that. Do you like that?
Hmm.
There you go. That's the life you have.
Natural consequences.
Yeah, do you like those? No. Well, what are you going to do something about it? No? Okay, good. Then that's what you get. And it's like the consequences are the teacher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. Yeah.
That was the basic idea. I used to work for a program a long time ago called Adirondack Leadership Expeditions.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Some outdoor.
And yeah, outdoor wilderness therapy. And they would take these kids and put them out in the woods for a few months. And basically they'd just be camping for 1 to 3 months usually.
Yeah.
And would they end up towing the line? Well, a lot of stuff was just naturally enforced. Like they needed to make sure that their clothes were dry because if they weren't, they would suffer. Like
Yeah, right. And it's
there
like,
were,
and you don't even need to do anything about that. You just let Mother Nature fucking handle business.
yeah, basically. But we live in a pretty cushy world in a lot of respects,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of people who are willing to make it cushier for a price. And
For a price.
yeah.
Yeah. We're definitely spoiled. Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. Or like I'm imagining now just to jab at the whole food allergy stuff and people about their dietary preferences. Yeah, good. You're in a survival situation and you want to live, you're going to fucking eat what's there. But I'm
Mm,
gluten free. Okay.
there are some
What?
exceptions to that. There are yeah, there's some bullshit, lots of bullshit, but there are also people that have the real deal. They eat stuff and it's poison.
Yeah, that's true.
Like they'll go to the hospital.
Yep.
Like
They might
my
die.
yeah, they might die.
Maybe that's part of it. I don't know, like or part of what? I don't know. Natural selection. We're so good at protecting ourselves that we can have all kinds of fucked up stuff show up because back in the day, if you were fucked up like that, you just died,
It's true.
you know.
So how about them there drones, buddy?
Dude, there's been drones over New Jersey and New York and other places. And in the US, we don't know what they are. And nobody's shot them down yet. And then
Why
there's a
not?
there's a lot of speculation. So okay, here's what I know. Okay, now here's what I've heard by looking at other shit on the internet, but it's like news. And then I watched a whole thing where the Pentagon press correspondent was answering all kinds of questions. And then I saw something where a politician,
Wait, you didn't have a direct conscious breakthrough about the nature of the drones?
no, this is all
Oh,
relative bullshit. It's hearsay.
okay.
So we don't know. There have been sightings of drones over New Jersey. People
Okay.
don't know what they are. Nobody shot them down. Now, New Jersey seems to be like, as a state, they are demanding answers. So the FBI is on it. They don't fucking know. And then the government doesn't know, like the Pentagon doesn't know. It does not seem to be a threat. That's what they say. So they're a little bit passe about it, right? And then Jersey's like, what the fuck? And
Of
so
course, Jersey's like, what the fuck?
yeah. And then the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, is saying, well, you can't just shoot things down. They have laws. So we're, as far as I can tell, in terms of getting this fucking shit moving, we have a bureaucratic holdup. We've got some red tape. Now,
You think
in
it's
my
red tape?
right, so then there's that side of things, because one thing is like, here's like they're talking to some drone pilots and some guys that like they fly drones all the time. He's like, yeah, if I fly a drone within 20 feet of this
Base.
restricted airspace,
Yeah.
or within a 500 feet or something like that, I will have cops at my door in 2 minutes,
Mhm.
and they will shoot that drone down. It'll be down,
Yeah.
right? So he's wondering, how come we haven't, if they're going to act that fast on my little drone over that base, how come the military hasn't fucking taken some action here?
What
So,
do you think? You think it's actually red tape? Like, how could that?
well, it's,
Continue saying what you're gonna say.
yeah, no, I mean, like, if we nerd out about it, like, because I think I know your perspective in this case, it's like, if that was actually something foreign, they'd be all over it really fast. And, or they would know, like, somehow it's not a I don't know what the fuck the holdup is. I really don't.
All right. Well, let's think about this logically. Okay.
Okay.
Let's just consider what your friend said. All right. If I fly my drone within 500
Yeah, and
feet.
to be clear, not my friend, just a drone pilot on YouTube who's like
Oh, sorry,
did
sorry. Yeah.
drones in New Jersey. Like, that was his
All right.
business.
All right.
He's saying, like, look, here's the deal.
Yeah. Um, there is no chance that the military does not have the capacity to shoot these things down.
No, absolutely not.
So that means that they are either there because the military
He's testing something out.
well, they're either there with the permission of the military or they're not.
Hmm.
If they're there without the permission of the military, that means the military is incapable of taking them out. Now, if these
Either
things
incapable or
unwilling,
oh,
but if they're
or
unwilling,
unwilling.
then they're there with the permission. It may be
Right.
coerced, but with the permission. So
Oh,
that'd be like a second category of permission. It was like, is it like fully willing or is it like coerced permission? But let's explore the unwilling and
incapable.
yeah, incapable. If they're incapable, then these things are too tough. But these things, I only saw like a little snippet of it.
They're
They don't look
apparently
like
like car sized and have a
yeah,
battery
they're
life of like 8 hours,
well, I don't know how we know how they have a battery life of 8 hours.
because they track them and they see them up in the. I think some people have tracked them, but not all the way back to where they
Okay,
go.
so we don't even know their point of origin. So like
Right.
we the public. So these things then they're not UAPs. They're not like flying around defying the laws of physics.
No, and then they also have lights on them that are consistent with the red and green sometimes of left and right. So they are manufactured airships.
Yeah. Okay, so they're manufactured, they're clearly made by human beings.
Seems that, yeah.
So so that means that the government is capable of taking them out because what do you think the chances are that some foreign power has created technology that's so powerful that it can fly over protected airspace and the government doesn't take it out?
Yeah, and I don't know that they fly over protected airspace. They're flying near it.
Okay, near it is good enough.
Yeah.
I'd say there's no chance. There's basically no chance. Like who is that? What are they doing? And okay, so that basically means that those things are there under permission. So that means they're ours, or they're our friends, quote unquote, and the government just doesn't want to say a damn thing about it.
Right. So those are our two options.
Yeah.
Either
But
it's without
I
their
don't think it's
permission or
red
with.
tape. I
Right,
don't think
right,
it's
right.
red tape.
Right. The FAA is
I mean,
saying, and then
there might be red tape bullshit excuses. I buy that
yeah.
for sure.
Right.
But
I just
somebody
use
who's
red
got
tape as
authority is
there's a
calling it saying,
let me
nope.
rephrase then. Like red tape as in there's a holdup of action.
Yeah.
We can't just shoot them down.
Hmm.
And they seem to be they're on the coasts so far. And I've heard tell maybe in Oregon there's also near military installations, near power plants. So what the fuck's going on? We don't know. Now, one of the things I think, just as a funny, one of the things I think,
Mm.
there's probably a reason they ain't flying those sons of bitches over Texas.
Well,
Because some fucking redneck motherfucker's gonna have a Barrett 50 cal
what?
and be like,
Ho-
it's
Hold
going
on a
down.
second, buddy.
Yeah.
I've got another. Somebody's ringing at my doorbell.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Texas citizens will shoot down drones.
Yeah, I just figured. I just
I think there are laws against that. You can't shoot a drone.
Yeah, and I am hope like in my mind I'm like fuck those fuck them.
Hmm.
Shoot it down. Somebody, please. Some crazy fuck out there who's got a high-powered rifle, anti-material rifle, Barrett 50 cal in case you need to go get one and get real good at it and let's go. Let's take one out.
Yeah,
Come on.
and dissect it.
Yeah, come on. Come on, people. Come on, citizens.
Yeah.
FAA, and because the Pentagon is saying something like they don't pose an immediate threat, but the public is getting pissed. Like in New Jersey, they're like, "Come on, do something,"
Hmm.
because they're scared.
Yep.
And in my mind, the one of the things that this lady said at like a press conference she's on the oversight committee that handles the whole UAP thing. She's like, yeah, as far as I know, and she seems like a pretty straight shooter, which I like, is she's like, yeah, the administration's on the way out, so they're taking their time. They don't care.
Mm.
That's what she said. Something like that. Like they're on their way out. In my mind, I'm like, you're a politician, do your fucking job. It's your job to protect the people, right? Like you just politician and do your job in the same sentence. Nah, wouldn't go there. I'm like, isn't that your job to protect the people? Your job is to protect people. Not that there's people being threatened, but their minds are fragile. They're
Mm.
scared. It's your
Well,
job.
you don't know what these things are, and if the government is saying we don't know what they are, and they're still flying overhead, it's
Yeah, they're
dishonesty.
certain they're certain it's man-made. I'm not going the I'm not going the UFO road,
Mhm.
but they don't know whose they are is what they're saying, and they don't pose an
Yeah,
immediate threat, but people are seeing quite a lot of them consistently.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that I need to get going, but that sounds
Ah,
like
yes.
another topic of discussion would be self-defense, because you're talking about blasting drones out of the sky, and I'm thinking here in France, people wouldn't have the capacity. They would they would call you a crazy barbarian for suggesting such a thing.
Oh yeah. Well, I live in a country of crazy barbarians and in a state even more. So
Yeah, but
where
I
it's like,
appreciate it, and I tend to jive with that attitude.
yeah.
Um, because I think that that's uh you know I think people should be able to protect themselves.
Yeah.
That's the way I think about it,
Yeah.
including with
Good.
weird drones,
Yes.
doing who knows what.
I can't wait till we find out what they are
Yeah,
because they're quite elusive. Like when they'll turn off their lights, they'll go dark
they're
and
wascally
disappear.
wabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, go dark now, bitch. Kabang!
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, you hope you don't shoot them and then they don't shoot back.
Right. Well, I mean, then we'd know something, and then they're in trouble, say, or maybe we're in trouble.
Redneck Joe Bob, he done shot one of them things and they blew up his whole homestead.
Goddamn took his fucking homestead out, but now we know they ain't friendly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I wonder also if it's a prelude to something, but we'll see. Because it's like, if it is foreign, they're looking around,
yeah,
or they're attracting attention here to go somewhere else.
yeah. Those are really interesting questions.
Yeah.
All
But
right,
you
buddy.
you got to get going.
Yep.
Thank you very much for watching the podcast. Come to a workshop. As always, I'm Brendan Lee. This is John. It's been fun. Bye.